And over the years, I've learned that the key to giving a speech at a political event is to keep it brief, so I'm only going to be up here for a second. As we approach the 2014 midterm elections, we see an economy that has recovered, but not enough due to Republican obstructionism. President Obama has 2 more years left in his term after the 2014 election. He needs experience. He needs the best we have to offer as a president, whether it's 2 more years of a Republican-controlled House. Congressman Cohen has the experience that is needed to get the job done these next 2 years. With there being no more earmarks in the House, he also has a great relationship with the White House, which is needed in order to secure funding for key projects in our city. As I look out into this crowd, I see a lot of beautiful Memphians. Please don't make this the last day I see y'all at the headquarters until our victory party on August 7th. This election could end up being one of the most negative ones we've seen. We need all hands on deck, so please, get on board, volunteer, and contribute. I'd like to thank our tried and tested staff for helping us get this headquarters up and running. I'd like to thank everyone for coming here today, and I'd especially like to thank our congressman for his public service. Now, our next speaker, he doesn't even really need an introduction. Everybody knows who Reverend Whalum is back here. Former school board member, longtime supporter of the congressman, and he just recently got more votes, with bang for buck, pretty much, for the votes that he got more than anybody else in Memphis City history. So everybody,
without campaign,
everybody give us a big round of applause for Reverend Kenneth Whalum Jr.
That's the kind of campaign manager you need. Give it up for this campaign manager one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure, it is my honor to be able to introduce and present our present and future representative to the United States Congress. When he asked me to do it, I was delighted to be able to say yes. I want you to be very, very cognizant of a real truth in this city. This is, I predict, going to be one of the most mud-slinging affairs we've seen in the 9th District in a long time. And there is an 800-pound gorilla in the room, and this gorilla will growl continually, particularly among African Americans in Memphis, Tennessee. You hear this red herring about the fact that a Jew cannot effectively represent the black community in the 9th District. I want to get it on the table right now. I want to let you know that it is disingenuous, especially in Memphis, Tennessee, for a group of Christian African-American ministers to say that a Jew cannot effectively represent a black person. I'm saying it. I'm saying it. It's disingenuous because we preachers get in the pulpit every Sunday and preach about how a Jew is effectively representing us in heaven for 2,000 years. 2,000 years. So don't go for the okie-doke, but make no mistake about it, it's going to be ugly, it's going to be dirty. Don't be afraid to stand on the truth. We do not elect a congressman, a representative to go to Washington, D.C. and then stay in Memphis the whole time. You elect a representative to take the needs of the city to Washington, D.C. If you want somebody to stay in Memphis, elect somebody to stay in Y'all, listen, trust me on this. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I brought my 2-year-old grandson, Kenneth Whalum IV, yes, another Kenneth Whalum, to trouble the world. I brought him with me because I want him to see what effective representation looks like. We are going to have to fight for this man. We're going to have to stand up for this man. And courage is a requirement in this race. You must have courage.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I said we got to have courage. We got to fight. Because we're going to win this race not by a slim margin,
A large margin.
but by a larger margin than we did last time. Because truth knows no color. We're going to stand, and it is my pleasure once again to present the present and future representative. Look, don't get it twisted. All of them are congressmen. The senators are congressmen. The representative are congressmen. We have a true representative in Washington, D.C. Put those hands together. Put a smile on your face. And welcome to the microphone, Representative Steve Cohen.
Thank you, Pastor Whalum. That was the only thing he missed on the introductions after he after you welcomed me. I thought we should have said, "Let's get ready to rumble." And we are ready to rumble. We are. We got the champ here, Amp Elmore, and we're ready to rumble. I do want to thank firstly John Marek and the whole staff, and Henry Turley, my treasurer, for the great work they've done in getting us to this day. Great headquarters, great setup. Lots of work. I went out last night and some people came up to me and they said that we had workers knock on their door already and how good a job they did. I've had people come up to me at different times in the city talking about how good our field team is and how they're out knocking on doors and effectively lining up our support. So thank you, field team. Thank you, interns. Thank you, staff. I thought a little bit about what I would say today. And I never really quite have it planned, but it always works out well. But I want to tell you a few things. Even if I weren't the candidate, it makes no sense not to keep going with Cohen. I get better at my job every day. As a state senator, I got better each year. And as a congressman, I'm getting better each day. In Congress, experience counts. It counts on which committee you're on, if you're a ranking member, which I am now of the Constitutional Law Subcommittee, or next year, if you're chairman or ranking member, and next year I'll have a choice of criminal law or constitutional law. You have that choice. You get to speak soon. And you build relationships and you gain know-how. Last week, I passed an amendment to the appropriations budget of which I am extremely proud. We added $5 million to the program to test rape kits that have been left on laboratory shelves. Now, Roby, nobody else even introduced that amendment. Nobody thought about it. But we not only introduced it, we took the money from the Drug Enforcement Agency. Wasn't that a good move? The budget was going to give them a $35 million increase. And yet they didn't have to work in Colorado and Washington. In fact, they can ski somewhere else. That passed, and it passed because we had the foresight to introduce it, and we had the relationship with the Republican Appropriations Chair, Frank Wolf, that accepted the amendment. The night before, he wasn't going to accept it. We talked some more, had a little conversation. He accepted the amendment. That's getting things done because of relationships, which is so important in Washington. In the last few weeks, I've had great successes in a bipartisan nature, getting things passed, but I've also been standing up for jobs and trying to get an infrastructure bill passed that's so important for Memphis. Roads and rivers and runways and rails. We are a transportation center. Those create jobs. Jobs is what Memphis needs. We're getting our Main Street to Main Street project together, which is jobs. And that's going to be completed across the Harahan Bridge. You hear about that, but most of the money is being spent on the mall for monies that otherwise the city would have had to spend to fix it up. And that's important that the Mid-America Mall gets fixed up, and that's part of the Main Street to Main Street project and creates jobs. Unemployment insurance needs to be approved. The Republicans have stonewalled it, but we continue to speak for it because people should have that unemployment insurance. In the worst recession that we've ever had, the George Bush recession that we're coming out of, the people still need recovery. And we'll continue to fight to raise the minimum wage to $10.10 with the earned income tax credit to get the family of four out of Congress. Now, Pastor Whalum mentioned a couple of issues that are going to come up in the campaign. And one of them is going to be about being local. Some people don't understand what the congressman's supposed to do. You're supposed to work with your local officials and highlight programs in Washington that your mayors need, that your community needs, and help them with funding. The determination on how to implement that funding is the governors and the mayors with the city council and or the county commission. Congress people don't administer. We legislate. We pass bills with money. The money comes down here, and hopefully they'll do the right thing. But we can't tell them what to do. If you want a political boss, we can bring back Crump. But I don't think we want that. You don't want a political boss. You want your local government people who represent you at the grassroots to have the tools they need to effectively help Memphis. And I do that. I work strongly with Mayor Wharton. I'll tell you a story. After we passed the money for the rape kits, Mayor Wharton had been on national TV on Roland Farrow's show on MSNBC. He was still in New York, and he called me, and I had a call that said, ID unknown. One of them kind of like, who's calling me? Well, I took the call. I take most of my calls. And it was Mayor Wharton. And he said he was sitting in New York with a bunch of women up there. Don't tell Ruby. But they were singing my praises. A bunch of women in New York who were meeting on the rape price kit backlog, and they wanted to talk to me. That is effective representation that goes to Washington and affects the whole country and affects Memphis, Tennessee. But where there are local issues we can make a difference, Larry Miller, when your relative, Nikki Wright, was murdered and didn't get the right type of sentencing in state court, we went to Ma Harrison, and we saw to it that the FBI got involved, and he got convicted for life, sentenced to life, and that's what he deserved. And when no money taxes was ripping people off in this community, my district director came to me and said, don't mess with that. That's so-and-so's nephew. I said, I don't care whose nephew it is. They're messing with our people, and we need to work for them. And they're no longer in the tax business, and they want to rip off anybody. And when we had the check engine light program, I could effectively deal with the EPA. And I did. And check engine light is over. So when we can do things that are local, that make a difference, and you can make a difference in Washington, I do it. When the American Steamship Company wasn't getting its loan, and I got a call from the folks from the Riverfront Development Corporation, I made the call to Ray LaHood that got that loan completed and brought that company and that boat to Memphis. When I can be effective, I help locally. But when I can't be effective, I don't. When people want to give up the charter for schools, and you know that it's a mistake, you don't get on the Titanic. You stay out of it. And now, because I didn't get involved in that issue, some people are upset and say I don't get involved in local issues. They shouldn't have got involved in local issues unless they were working for the lawyers who made millions and millions of dollars and have messed up our city schools. So, I just wanted to get some things off my chest. I got a great relationship with the President. In fact, I got a personal note from the President that I value so much. He wrote me a personal note about my work on smart and humane justice issues that we share. I've worked on commutations and trying to help the commutations department. There are a lot of people in prison that don't deserve to be in prison, particularly for the crack cocaine disparity. Their sentences are void against public policy, and they should be given commutations.
That's right.
And on drug laws, our drug laws have been insane. The war on drugs is a failure, and to continue to operate, not going after heroin and crack and cocaine and meth and OxyContin, but going after marijuana is foolish.
That's right.
Some people will tell you in this campaign that I'm older. Well, tomorrow we're all going to be older. Hopefully. Hopefully. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But I have never lost my touch with the future and bringing issues to the fore. I was talking about marijuana reform in the 80s. Now, we passed a bill yesterday, first time in history, an amendment to the appropriations bill to say the DEA can't use any monies to enforce marijuana laws in states where medical marijuana is legal. That's the right thing to do for state law. When I was in the state Senate, I was the only person on one occasion or more not to vote for the constitutional amendment to ban gay marriage. Well, now everybody realizes, in states and judges and individuals and politicians, that it makes no sense. But I wasn't afraid to be alone and be the first person. And I wasn't alone to be the first person on gender issues. There were times when the pro-choice community needed somebody to come out and speak in Nashville, and nobody would. But I did. And I'll always be there on the cutting edge, and I'll always be trying to move this country forward to progress, liberty, and justice. I thank you for electing me Congressman and re-electing me Congressman. But this is a time when my experience, which is a lifetime of experience, pays off for Memphis. My relationship with the President and my knowledge of Congress. So I ask you to send me back so I can do more for Memphis. I can continue to build a better Memphis. Now I noticed the other day, you know, my billboards and signs, I'm happy my opponent learned something from me. My billboards and signs say, building a better Memphis. Well, we can use those again, because we're still building a better Memphis. And some of my signs say, get going with Cohen, or keep going with Cohen. And we've got those signs, and we can still use them in 2 years and 4 years, because we're still going to keep going with Cohen. And my opponent was smart enough to copy us, and have a campaign slogan that says, our next congressman. He can use those again, and again, and again, and again. I tell you, that may be our next congressman right there. Them too, but they're a little bit too young to be the next congressman, to be honest. I want to recognize a few people here who I've known for most all my life. Representative Larry Miller, I served with for many years. Thank you for being here. Gordon Ball, who's a candidate for the United States Senate, we went to law school together. We served in the Constitutional Convention together. Cheyenne Johnson, is you still here? Cheyenne Johnson is a great assessor of property. My dear friend for over 35 or 40 years. Vote for Cheyenne Johnson. Reginald Milton, if he survives the recount, which I'm sure he will, is going to be the best county commissioner that you can ask for. He's smart, he's diligent, he's thoughtful, and he doesn't get upset, and he doesn't call for a recount. And he knows how to get 25 legal signatures on his petition. He had the courage to run and take that on. He's been had every handicap put in front of him, every barrier, but he's with grace faced them and carried on, and he's going to be a great county commissioner. Wanda Halbert, where are you?
Right there.
Right in front of me. Wanda Halbert, who I've known for years, great city councilman. Welcome. Her son Stefan worked in my office in Washington. Nice to see you here. Are there any other folks here who I've served with and or are elected officials now? Judge Betty Moore was here. Is she still here?
Yes.
Lee Harris, city councilman and next state senator, who will show up. And I think, you know, some days, if you say anything good about Republicans, people get upset with you sometimes now, which is not very smart because you got to work with Republicans. I've worked with Lamar Alexander because they still have loose lips, and to get our Attorney General Ed Stanton appointed, to get Sherry Lickman appointed, to get John Folks appointed, to get Bernice Donald appointed. I had to work with Lamar Alexander, and he's worked with me on the judicial appointments. I read the paper this morning. He said they needed to broaden their base. They needed to go out to constituents they don't normally go to, and that showing up is real important. He was speaking about you, Lee. You'll show up. Is there anybody else here who's elected official?
Judge Coffee.
Oh, Judge Coffee. Judge Lee Coffee. Appreciate Judge Coffee for being here, an outstanding criminal court judge running for re-election. And if there are other candidates, I'd like you to hold up your hand and identify yourself and call out your name. Who's back there? Danny Kale? Eating a hot dog. Running for judge. Dan Michael? Good to see you. Running for juvenile court judge. Who else is here? Coleman Thompson.
Democratic nominee.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Nice to see the Withers family here. We've been friends a long time.
Larry Cram for U.S. Senate.
Yes, sir.
Alicia Howard, running for criminal court judge for the
Thank you for coming out. Dwayne?
Dwayne Thompson, State Representative.
Who's way back in the back? There's a hand.
McKell Lowry, State Committee, District 29.
McKell Lowry, who is a part of the great family. Myron was going to be here today, but had a medical situation. Myron Lowry, like Ken Whalum and I, have been supporting each other for years. Myron Lowry is a great city councilman. He's on board, and his son is a great carrier of that Lowry name. Julie Bird.
Running for Circuit Court Division 1. Leanne Dobson, running for Circuit Court Division 3.
Cedric Wooten, Circuit Court Division 8.
And if Van Turner here, you're almost elected. Congratulations, Van. County Commissioner. Who's back there? Welcome. I think we covered everybody. I recognized Judge Moore earlier. You missed it. But I didn't recognize the billboard. Betty Moore's been my friend a long time. Thank you. I need your help, I need your support, and I need your vote. This election won't be dirty. Every morning I get up and I look forward to August the 8th because I know I'm going to see some stuff in the next 2 months that I've probably never seen. But I'm prepared for it, my team is prepared for it. We're going to run on our record, we're going to run hard, we're going to win with big numbers, and we're going to show them that people are going to keep going with Cohen. So come back to this headquarters, volunteer, spread the word. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's keep going. And anything I can do, let me know.